Hey everyone, DFA here, welcome back to the channel, and today I am testing the Tier 10 Commonwealth cruiser Cerberus. Because yes, it's about to get released, probably as in crates for like an yearly release. And I thought I would let you know, since I covered the Tier 9 encounter a couple of days ago, what I think about the Tier 10 and if the line is eventually worth grinding. And spoiler alert, it is. It's kind of a interesting camo, isn't it? I would say the regular historical ones are a little bit more bland, but these ones are a little bit special. They're kind of more special. But yeah, let's take a look at the stats of that thing first to see what we have in store there. And there we have it, and the Cerberus, what does it get? It gets a combat instruction that triggers after 3 times you set your enemy on fire. Essentially, it's increasing your accuracy and the turret rotation as well, so that's pretty good. You get 3 times crawling smoke too, that's excellent, and then AA, because yeah, why not? And finally, so it's a relatively survivable ship actually. It's pretty decent in terms of taking damage, so that's kind of an improvement if you compare it with the Tier 9, and the concealment is actually pretty good as well, 8.9 kilometers. So yeah, certainly more than the Zao and on par with the Yoshino in terms of survivability, so that's actually kind of nice. Same hit points as the Hindenburg as well, but not as much protection. But yeah, Hindenburg does not get smoke. Mobility, as always, as with the Tier 9, they move like bricks. The turn time, it's... I should check if it's one of the worst, if not the worst, at Tier 10. So it makes the Zao and the Yoshino look like ballerinas, and yeah, the acceleration is also not excellent. The top speed is not bad, but for the rest it really feels like a brick, and good luck dodging with that thing. Where it gets interesting, it's in the guns department. You get 12 203mm guns. That's basically an extra turret if you compare it with the Tier 9. And so what does that mean? Range is good at 12 kilometers, the HE DPM is good at 60,000, the fire chest excellent at 8, so really on par with the Des Moines. They're a little bit inferior to the Small and superior to the Zao. This is a very good fire setter, and the AP, mind you, is actually not bad at 73,000 damage. So yeah, it's not the king of DPM like the Colbert of the Smolensk, but it's also much more survivable than these two, to be honest. And the turret rotation is also not half bad at 9 degrees, so that's pretty good actually. It doesn't get any secondaries, no auto secondaries, and it gets a few torpedoes, 4 on each side, dealing around 16,000 damage, range of 8 kilometers, that's actually pretty nice indeed. And finally, the AA is pretty decent as well. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting ship on paper. And it's also very interesting in game, because yeah, it's essentially the Tier 9 with more survivability and an extra turret. And so yeah, you really become a very good damage farmer at Tier 10, because you also have, unlike some of the other ships that we've seen, for example the Yoshino or the Zao, which are also amazing damage dealers, but they do not get the survivability that these things get, simply because of the 3 crawling smokes. And so what you want to do with it is so really play it like a heavy cruiser. Really try to find opportunities to farm damage, but you can be much more aggressive here. Simply because yeah, you can survive for 40 seconds in front of the enemy, provided yeah, you do stay at range, because if you're too close for comfort, then they will be hitting you. But there you go, that's an opportunity there. If you... voila, there you go. That Prinz Ruprecht, I have the time to farm it before it disappears behind an island, and I'm going to activate my crawling smoke, and I'm quietly going to be pumping damage into that thing. And I will take the opportunity to make my way into the cap area to help my team cap the second ring there. So that's exactly what you want to do with these things. You identify a target that you want to farm, something that thinks that yeah, it can get away with it, but no, and yeah, you can set quite a lot of fires with that thing, and so and you can do that in relative safety, at least at that range. If you're within, I would say 7 or 8 kilometers, they can smack you in your crawling smoke, absolutely no problem. But here, absolutely not a problem farming those ships, and so yeah, let's stay outside of radar range. And let's see if we can farm that San Martin. So there I should be switching to AP, to be honest, because the AP it's also not bad on these things, but yeah, I'm not sure why I keep using HE. I think the San Martin had just been set on fire and he cannot damage con anymore. So there you go, increasing my accuracy. I'm increasing my turret rotation and I will slowly disengage and try to set another fire on that San Martin. So there you go. That's really what you want to do with these things. Yeah, to Citadel with HE. Interesting. So as I said, those are really good damage farmers. It can also take a bit of punishment, so that's actually good news. And yeah, now that you have those 4 turrets, you can really dish out some serious damage and cause quite a lot of fire. So which is kind of, you know, the tier 9 was lacking a little bit in terms of firepower. It pretty much was a smaller grade over the tier 8. But this thing, it's the real deal, and it's also pretty nice. So yeah, there you go. We do have that Vermont there, and the Vermont probably going to be focusing the cruiser Takahashi that's in front of him. At least that's what I'm hoping. But if he decides to, yeah, he's not in a position to fire back, and so I can farm as well. So that's really, it's really the heavy cruiser playbook, except you can be much more aggressive than your typical second line heavy cruiser. And you do have the concealment to get into interesting positions as well, so I would say there's a very interesting ship, a very interesting line from that perspective. I don't know why I keep thinking that these are light cruisers, but no, they're not light cruisers, they really play like heavy cruisers, they have the maneuverability of heavy cruisers, if not worse. But yeah, it's just that it's a bit unusual to have a heavy cruiser that's a pure HE farmer. And it's also pretty unusual to have a heavy cruiser line that's actually good from the beginning. I mean, if you remember what happened with the last 2 heavy cruiser line that were released, the French and the Spanish, these are pretty much catastrophes. But this thing, it's pretty good, and I really enjoyed it. I kind of like the tier 9, and I'm really enjoying the tier 10 as well, simply because it's really the great damage farmer. But unfortunately, yeah, just like any heavy cruiser, do not think that your smoke will keep you safe from everything, and especially with the lack of maneuverability that these ships have, you really have to anticipate a bit. And there I do make a mistake, I get rushed by the Iwami, and that forces me to kind of disengage in front of the entire enemy team. And this is going to be over very quickly, so yeah, there you go. Let's watch the catastrophe unfold, and yeah, you see it really moving like a brick, that thing. It's you really have to be careful with this, because yeah, you really have to plan your engagements, and I was a little bit too aggressive there, I was farming a little bit too confidently, and it's going to be over quite fast. But don't get me wrong, that thing can actually take a beating, the error is on me. But yeah, still we did get quite a nice score, almost 110,000, that's actually not bad for a game that ended so abruptly. So Cerberus, what do I think? 4 stars out of 5 for fun. It's a good damage farmer. It's not the most maneuverable ship, you're not going to be able to make the plays that you would be making, for example, in Minotaur. But practically it's still a fun ship to play. You just have to accept that, yeah, you cannot get into caps as often as you wish, you cannot really challenge destroyers as easily as you wish, because remember, no sonar, no radar, no maneuverability. If a destroyer gets within 5 kilometers of you, you are going to suffer. But it's pretty good at doing what it was designed, what it was meant to do, which is farming damage, HE, AP, all pretty good, pretty beginner friendly as well. It's a fairly survivable ship, you get the 3 crawling smokes, so it's not like a Hindenburg or a Yoshino with regards to that. You can make a couple of mistakes, as long as you don't get too close to the action, you will be fine. And the ship also has some decent AA as well to boot, so yeah, it's overall it's a pretty beginner-friendly ship, as far as I'm concerned. Is it free-to-play friendly? Pretty decent. It's a heavy cruiser, so you obviously will do better with premium repair kits. And you need a commander with Mist Weaver to be able to use your 3 crawling smokes per game, but overall it's a pretty, I think it's still a fairly free-to-play friendly line. Overall rating 4 stars out of 5. Good job Wargaming releasing a heavy cruiser line that does not suck and require 20,000 buffs to do something nice. So yeah, miracles can happen. So there you go, that was my review of the Cerberus. Hope you've enjoyed it, learned a couple of interesting things. Stay safe, take care, that was DFA signing out, bye bye!